All right, hello guys. This I think is number 9. The journey of just freaking putting the camera up and hitting play is a bigger challenge than I would think, and probably people would think, because I don't have problems speaking in front of a camera. I don't have a problem speaking with people in general, teaching. But I'm diving into a deep wound, wound that that I've actually dove into before several times, and I know it's there, but I also know that it's not completed, and that wound has everything to do with how or why it's so uncomfortable to be in front of the camera this time on this channel doing this and moving forward in life right now, from where I'm at right now and where I feel like I'm supposed to go and want to go. But there's definitely something stopping me, and this is it. So that's what I'm diving into today. Wish me luck. I think it's very difficult. My avatar thinks it's difficult. Okay, let's go. So yesterday I got this beautiful insight um, from the little ones running around, and we're all in this together, right? I love the fact that these guys trigger me because it's very obvious to me. I saw very early on with the first one, wow, thank you. You're here to help me thrive or not thrive. Yeah, that too. Evolve, grow, expand into higher states of consciousness. Not that that's the only thing. I don't think that there's this one person and then all these people around that one person, they're only there to help that person. I think it's a web. We'll help each other, goes forth and back. But yeah, these guys definitely help me evolve into higher states of consciousness. And then as a parent, I think you have to make a choice of whether or not you're going to take the lesson, take what you can out of those lessons that you're being served daily. This was about basically not listening, and this whole thing about the old way of like, listen to me, just do what I say, show respect is obviously not the, you probably guessed it. I'm not exactly there, but I do think that, it's never black and white in my head. It's always like, well, I do think it's important that we learn early self respect. And when we do, we honor other people's boundaries. So when I, as the adult, set boundaries, I also explain why they're there and what the consequences are. I think that's evolving from, if you don't do this, blah blah blah, and there's just like a punishment. It's not punishment because I don't believe in punishment. I believe that certain things will have a consequence, and the consequence may not be so awesome. So when we explain, okay, if you do that, this is going to be the consequence, and then just basically following through. Okay, well then that's the consequence, because in that way we learn boundaries. Because I do think that that's important, to learn boundaries, to have respect for other people's boundaries, and also having respect for our own boundaries, right? Because that's exactly where it comes from. If you cannot respect other people's boundaries, it's basically because you don't respect your own boundaries, right? So that's the very interesting part for me, at least, to be to be human, I guess, is that everything I do and experience and go through, I'm realizing more and more that I've always had this. It's very strange. Like, how? Because I wasn't awake, but I've always had this kind of like outer perspective part of me. Like, it's almost like I've watched it from the outside, not watched it from the outside. Uh, just watching myself play certain things out that I know, like, oh, this is not good for me, but I'm just going to play it out because there's a lesson here. And that's really weird because, like, why, how was I able to do that when I didn't know anything about consciousness or spirituality? Nothing. I knew nothing about self development, whatever you want to call it. But I've definitely done this my whole life. Especially, I especially remember my observer, I guess, through bigger things like I used to smoke. I went to a dance college, and I remember thinking, yeah, I know I'm gonna quit one day. And I quit on the day once. I didn't smoke for 2 years, and then I started again because I was like, well, I'm just gonna start again because I enjoyed it, and then I'm gonna quit. And then I just like observed myself, and also knowing that she will quit. That's the fun part. Like it's like I'm looking at myself from the outside, like she will quit and she will learn something from it. And that's why she kept going right now. And the same with my eating disorders. I was completely aware that I was just doing this for a period of time, and the time where I wasn't doing it anymore was going to come, but I was supposed to learn something from it. And until I was done learning, I kept going. Even though I was like, well, you can't just quit now. But no, I'm not done learning. How weird is that? So the same thing happened yesterday, or it happens actually continuously, where I'm just like observing myself. Okay, character is angry, is acting angry right now, is choosing to act feelings out because her boundaries, right? And that's what happened. I started asking myself, like, okay, I feel anger. Why do I feel anger? Where does anger come from? Anger comes from feeling my boundaries have been overstepped, right? Like someone has not respected my boundaries. And then I was like, well, why don't they respect your boundaries? They don't respect my boundaries. I don't respect my boundaries. Oh, okay. Why don't people listen? Because I don't listen. Like, why does no one value what I say? And that's what kind of came up from this. Like, no one values what I say. No one hears me. I'm worthless. I'm blah. And then you just move into that deep, deep blah. And I close my eyes right now because it's actually, it's way easier for me to just share what actually happened when I close my eyes and I just go within. And because I constantly have these conversations with myself, like, okay, when you can tell like okay there's some kind of pain still related to this, it's not so big anymore but it's still there, and there's definitely some huge I just said it's not so big and then I said huge, that's funny, but there is some, well there is like a huge fear, like it's just it's not like it was before because I can tell that I've healed some of the stuff but I'm not done healing it. So I'm holding myself back because I still believe in some way shape or form what I say is not has no value. No one listens to me, and that's there's a wound here that I'm not quite getting. Like, where does this come from? Is it old? Is it new? Is it generational? Is it? I'm not quite sure, and it doesn't really matter. It's just it's not completely clear yet. It's kind of hiding. I feel like it's hiding a bit. Yeah, so that's what happened, and I just wanted to share that insight with you because I guess what I wanted you to I don't want you to anything actually. I felt like sharing. This is a huge part of the journey. It's constantly asking questions from the observer perspective. It's like move out, just zoom out. Zoom out and be the observer. And it doesn't mean that your character doesn't play shit out sometimes. And a lot of times, maybe all the time. It does all the time, I guess, because you're constantly playing the character. But you're able to observe and make choices consciously rather than unconsciously reacting. So you're not reacting because that to me it's just kind of like an unconscious thing. This happens, so then this happens. It just goes automatically. Well, that's programming dictating your life, to say it in a simple way, right? Rather than consciously going, oh, beautiful picture. Focus, Christina. Um, ADD or something. Mm, yeah. So consciously choosing to me is stopping, observing, making choices and also choosing sometimes to play it out. Okay, I'm going to play it out. I'm playing it out. I can tell I'm playing it out. I'm not stopping myself and going in a different direction. Or I am. I was definitely going there, looking at everything as lessons that can help you. I guess that's what I wanted to share. Being the observer, taking control, and it's not like controlling. It's a different kind of control. Release control of what you can't control, but do take control over what you can, because that to me is taking responsibility. Fully stepping into taking full responsibility. Oh, that's a very weird sentence. I could not have said that in a weirder way. Take taking full responsibility for yourself, basically. Meaning, okay, uh, my programming leads me to be a victim in so and so and so and so situation. I'm not going to be a victim. So I am going to consciously choose instead of reacting due to programming, right? So how do we do that? Where you reprogram, you heal, because your nervous system, your body, your emotional body, your mental body, they all contain programming, right? And this programming dictates our actions, our reactions, our thoughts, our patterns, right? But when we choose to then consciously move into this and be like, okay, let's start sorting here. Let's start making sense of all of this, right? You start digging in, you become aware of all these thought patterns, your emotional patterns, and your reactions, basically your actions, right? You then can say, oh, this doesn't serve me any longer. This does not serve me. This doesn't serve me. I'm going to remove those, and I'm going to clean up. Basically, it's like a mental, emotional, holistic cleanup, right? You're just cleaning up and organizing, tidying up, because then you gain control of yourself again. And as you do this, you basically shed the crap that's holding you back from moving completely into who you truly are. Because all these things, they're just noise. It's like they're just mess. It's like have you seen hoarders? Like, have you seen hoarding on television, or anyone? Do you know anyone that hoarders? It's like a hoarder home, right? If you're just full of all this programming and you have no control over anything, you, like, in the center of the home is who you truly are. But there's no way to get there because of all this mess. Like, you cannot even get there. You can't see it. You can't get there. You don't know where it's deep, buried down below all these boxes with crap. Well, it's a mess. So we start cleaning. But obviously, for most hoarders, starting that cleanup job is almost impossible, because obviously, who wouldn't? You get so overwhelmed that you don't even start, right? So fearlessly taking your power back is actually fully stepping into taking responsibility for yourself. And that's a rough job. So the insight that I got yesterday was basically just, here we go again. This is a beautiful lesson, and I really want to dive into this whole freaking program of, what the hell is that? Like, where does that come from? What is holding me back, and how and why? And yeah, so I'm very curious about this now. What came up? It's almost like I just want to put on the camera for some reason, and I don't even know why. And I want to dive into how I process things like this, because I really want to find out what this was, or what is this? Where does it come from? Where am I going with this? Like, meaning, how do I heal this and move beyond it? Because I'm definitely supposed to move beyond it. Like, when my kids even can trigger the feeling that I have no worth, that's profound, right? And it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And I'm so grateful for these insights, these moments of pressure, because that's how diamonds form. We know this. And who are we truly? We're diamonds. actually just diamonds. We have all these, it's just beautiful spectrum of light and power. It's so intense, like this, the vastness of our quantum self, like it's just intense. So moving into it will also sometimes leave us feeling fear, and that's okay. That is actually how you know that you're getting there. So yeah, I think that's possibly what I'll do. I'll put on the camera and I'll start diving into this thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make anything out of it that I'll be able to post. I don't know if I'm like there yet where I can do this kind of self-healing and share it, but I'll see. It's worth a shot. Thank you for listening. Take care. I love you. Bye.